All right. Good Monday evening, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a check of your weather. We are still tracking that lone supercell that is making its way very slowly down in the south and east direction. The core is mainly in Baca County, Colorado. It just made its way across the highway there east of Kim and Pruitt. So that storm, again, is mostly in rural country at this point, but it is moving towards Wheelis and the northwest corner of Cimarron County. We're cutting back in to talk about this a little bit because of how big the hail is inside this storm. This is a picture from Blake Brown. This was just a few minutes ago. So this is something that it has been producing very recently and likely still continuing to produce. But if you end up in that hail core, this is something that you can probably expect to deal with, especially if you're in the core of the storm. But you can see that that hailstone there is about the size of an apple. It's about 3 inches in diameter, maybe a little bit bigger than that. It does look like it comes up past almost to about 3¼ inches in diameter. And again, it's a very large hailstone. It's not very spiky either. So again, it could have been even bigger. Blake's behind this supercell, and so this has been on the ground for a little bit and has had some time to melt. He says that there's a lot of hail like that behind that storm, and that 2.5 to 3+ inch range. That's the biggest one that they have seen and measured. But there's a lot of quarters, a lot of anything from quarters to this size hail in the hail core of that storm, which again currently is over in Baca County, there in southeast Colorado. Now I will say that this storm does look like it is falling apart very quickly. So I don't know if it's going to maintain that intensity for an extended period of time, but it does have some pretty big hail in it, or at least it does right now as it's starting to fall apart. So we'll see if it can get into Cimarron County. It does look like it has certainly lost its big punch. Again, let's go ahead and take a look at our storm relative velocities and see what that thing looks like. I mean, it still has some rotation in there. So let's go ahead and stop this time lapse. You can still see there is some rotation right in here. Red heading away from the Amarillo radar, green's heading towards. So this thing does still have a rotating updraft in it. So that usually helps enhance the hail size for these supercell thunderstorms. Again, that's something that just kind of cycles that hail in and out of the updraft several times, can keep it lofted in the air for an extended period of time. If you guys are just now tuned in, this is really the biggest hazard right now with that supercell there in Baca County. It's going to be up to apple-sized hail, even though it's not warned for it. This is something that just fell out of the sky a few minutes ago, 5-10 minutes ago from Blake Brown. So big hail. That was right there just east of Kim on the main highway between them and Pruitt. And so that storm producing some very large hailstones that would cause a lot of problems and shatter windows and windshields, things like that. So don't want to be caught underneath the storm. This is our Skycam there in text line, at least Pantex camera in text line, looking north towards that storm. I will say that it is not nearly as active from a lightning standpoint as it was 30 minutes ago. That's another sign that it's probably weakening. And so we'll see if it can maintain a core with hail of that caliber. But I mean, if that was what it was producing as it was falling apart, I can only imagine what it was producing out there in some of the open country of Colorado where there's not a whole lot going on, just some ranch land, farmland, things like that. Severe thunderstorm watch has been trimmed a lot. We've only got 4 counties in that watch now. It's Baca County as well as Cimarron, Dallam, and Union County until 11 p.m. It does look like they may have extended that a little bit there in Baca County until 10 o'clock. It was until 9, but again, those look like they had it extended just because of that lone supercell that is currently out there. The Storm Prediction Center, I mean, it wasn't a slam dunk forecast by any means because they have trimmed this back. Again, that storm really hasn't made much forward progression. It's still outside the viewing area. We just kind of been waiting for it for the last 6-7 hours. It got going at like 5 o'clock this afternoon up there in, right there near Lamar. I mean, it's only moved about 70 miles through the whole day. But we do have the slight risk, and again, that's just due to the impacts that you could see from that supercell. It's not going to impact very many people, but those that it does impact, it's going to be a pretty mean storm, very feisty storm, producing some really big hail. Our model doesn't pick up on it very well, so it may very well be on a downward trend from here on out. That would be some good news. Wouldn't have any of that hail issue for any of our viewers. And then as we move into Tuesday, we transition from severe weather conversations to probably heat related stuff. We'll be seeing temperatures in the upper 90s tomorrow afternoon. So not record heat, not quite triple digit heat, but moving into Wednesday, that could change. We may start climbing into those low 100s, anywhere from about 100 to 104, just depending on where exactly you're at. I know the model shows a few isolated showers, but really not expecting us to see a whole lot of rain this week. That ridge of high pressure is still going to be centered pretty close to the Panhandle. So our wind shear is going to die off, storm chances are going to go away, and we're really just going to be talking about the heat. The temperatures will be right in that century mark range between 98 and about 104. Heat index values, especially in the eastern half of the Panhandle, where those dew points could be around 70 degrees, you may be dealing with some heat index numbers around 105 to 110. So we're getting into advisory level criteria or even warning level criteria for heat stress, things like that. So if you work outside, later this week is going to be pretty brutal. You're going to want to make sure that you drink plenty of water and stay hydrated. Probably going to want to take several breaks throughout the day. Here in Amarillo, we have not made it to 100 degrees yet this year. The last time that we didn't reach 100 in the summer was 2015. It was 10 plus years ago. So we'll see if we can get there. But right now, not looking good. We will probably have at least a few minutes this week where we do touch 100 degrees. I mean, we're going to get really close each afternoon. Got you at 99 tomorrow, 100 Wednesday and Thursday, and Saturday, 99 again Friday. As we get into the weekend, actually, I think I skipped that graphic. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. We do watch the ridge this weekend start to push west. It's going to have a trough swing over its head. And this actually could probably open up the door for a very weak cold front in the middle of the month. Would not be shocked if that does come to fruition. Usually those fronts come through with those troughs as they swing across the central and northern plains, even if models don't say they're going to get this far south. More and often not, they do, at least to a minor level where we see maybe a 5 or a 10-degree drop in temperatures briefly. So we'll see again moving into next week. I wouldn't be shocked if we've got a weak cold front coming through. We also get the northwest flow. If that times out well with the cold front, we may inevitably be talking about an increased chance for rain again. So we are dry through the rest of the week for the most part, just hanging on to that 10% pop tomorrow, 20% chance Saturday and Sunday, and then probably Monday, similar conditions. The question will be kind of what direction that wind's going to be from. If it's from the southwest, probably won't see crazy high dew points, probably more like in the 50s, things like that, 40s and 50s out in New Mexico, and then maybe some low 60s around Childress and Paducah. But if we got more of a southeast wind, kind of like what we have today, moving into next week, that could really set the stage for some more rain chances as we continue to pull in some better moisture. But that Bermuda high is starting to push further away off the Atlantic Ocean coast here in the east coast of America. So our return flow or moisture flow from the Gulf may not be as efficient, may not be as strong. So there's a little bit more uncertainty on just how good that chance of rain is going to be. But we'll have the northwest flow. Probably we'll get a cold front to come through too. So I would be shocked if we don't have isolated thunderstorms. But that's all we've got for now. Again, just wanted to really talk about that supercell up there in Baca County. We'll jump back over to the analysis tab just to kind of show you where it's at. Looking at storm relative velocities, you still have that rotation there. Probably getting some side lobe contamination too, just because of some of that hail out there within that storm that can contaminate the velocities on a radar. And we're looking very high up. I mean, this, even though it is a supercell, we're looking 16,000 feet off the ground. This is out in no man's land from a radar standpoint. The closest radars are Amarillo, Dodge City, Kansas, and Pueblo, and Cannon Air Force Base. I mean, this thing's like 120 miles away from any NWS radar around the region. There's probably some smaller radars, some private, companies that've got a radar or two. Some of those are a little bit closer, but as far as like publicly accessed, there's really nothing close. So we're looking pretty high up. You're talking about 16, 17,000 feet above ground level. So even though it is a supercell, it's not really holding much of a tornado threat at this point in time. Let's put a quick lapse on this, 45 minutes, just to show you this thing. Again, the core seems to really be falling apart with this thing. Looking at satellite imagery, I mean, this thing definitely looks like it's dying a quick death, so I don't think it's going to hang around for much longer. So this may be our last live or update for you guys this evening. This storm, it very well could fall apart before it gets into Cimarron County. If it does get into Cimarron County, it will probably start falling below severe limits. It's definitely on a downward trend, it looks like. 1 inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's what it's warned for right now in Cimarron County, even though you guys technically don't have the storm in there yet. And it looks like that watch is now in effect until midnight tonight, just due to that one storm. So it's going to run for another hour and 6 minutes. Yeah, this storm is going to fall apart pretty quick. I mean, I think shortly after 11 o'clock, this thing's probably not going to be severe anymore. Yeah, so I think this will be our last live for you guys for this evening. But I do want to appreciate you guys for tuning in, staying up to date weather-wise with us here at ABC7 Amarillo. We'll let you get back to the rest of your evening. This thing's going to die a pretty quick death, it looks like. Remember, stay hydrated this week. Triple-digit heat's looking more and more likely in the afternoons, so you'll want to make sure to take those breaks.